Namaskar, very warm welcome to all the viewer in this very special live session of CIT NCRT जिसे आप देख रहे हैं ई विद्या चैनल नंबर 9, 10, 11 और 12 पर। आप सभी का स्वागत करती हूं मैं रेणु भट्ट अपने इस लाइव इंटरैक्शन में। ये हमारे बहुत ही खास सत्र है और ये हमारी वेबिनार सीरीज़ है जिसका सेशन नंबर हम आपको बता दें, इट्स 69th सेशन एंड फ्रॉम द लास्ट पास्ट 2 years हम इस वेबिनार सीरीज़ को कंडक्ट कर रहे हैं जिसमें हम विभिन्न टॉपिक पर बात करते हैं जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं, जिसके बारे में जानना ज़रूरी है, जिसके बारे में अवेयरनेस होना ज़रूरी है। आज हम किस टॉपिक पे बात कर रहे हैं वो भी हम आपको बता देते हैं। आज हम बात करेंगे ऑर्गन डोनेशन एंड ट्रांसप्लांटेशन इन इंडिया, यानी कि भारत में अंगदान और प्रत्यारोपण। और जब हम बात करते हैं मेडिकल एडवांसमेंट की तो हम देखते हैं कि ऑर्गन डोनेशन एंड ट्रांसप्लांटेशन ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट हो जाते हैं जब मेडिकल एडवांसमेंट की बात होती है। हम समय में आगे जा रहे हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी में आगे जा रहे हैं और काफ़ी कुछ हम अचीव करते जा रहे हैं मेडिकल फील्ड में। तो किस तरह की चीज़ें इससे कनेक्ट करती हैं, किस तरह के इश्यूज इससे हो सकते हैं, कौन कौन डोनेशन कर सकता है और ट्रांसप्लांटेशन में क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आ सकती है, ये और बहुत कुछ डेफिनेटली आपके मन में आ रहा होगा जानने के लिए। और आप इसके बारे में और अधिक जानना चाहते हैं तो आप हमसे जुड़ सकते हैं हमारे इस लाइव इंटरेक्शन में अपनी सभी क्वेरीज के साथ। बट बिफोर दैट लेट मी शेयर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बात की हम अपने सभी देखने वालों को बता दें कि आप हमसे जुड़े हुए हमारे चैनलों के माध्यम से ई विद्या चैनल नंबर 9, 10, 11 और 12 पर। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दीज चैनल्स यू आर विद अस ऑन आवर यूट्यूब चैनल एज वेल, दैट इज NCERT इवेंट्स। आप वहां पर जा सकते हैं, अपनी सभी क्वेरीज, अपने सभी डाउट्स, अपने सभी प्रश्न हम तक पहुंचा सकते हैं। आपको लाइव चैट बॉक्स में जाना है, अपना कॉमेंट ड्रॉप करना है। सबसे तेज़ माध्यम है हमसे जुड़ने का और हम चाहते हैं कि अपनी सभी बातों के साथ आप हमसे हमारे इस लाइव इंटरेक्शन में जुड़ें। आप हमें कॉल कर सकते हैं हमारे टेलीफोन नंबर पे जो है 8800440559। इधर यू कैन ड्रॉप अ मेल एज वेल। हमारा ईमेल एड्रेस है dts.class6@class9@cit.nic.in। 9 के अलावा आप 10, 11 और 12 भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं। इन ईमेल एड्रेस पे आप अपनी बात हम तक पहुंचा सकते हैं। अगर आप अपना फीडबैक हम तक पहुंचाएंगे तो हमें बहुत अच्छा लगेगा कि ये वेबिनार सीरीज़ आपको कैसी लगती है और क्या प्रतिक्रिया आप देना चाहते हैं। और अब समय है कि हम अपने एक्सपर्ट से मिल लें। हमारे एस्टीम्ड एक्सपर्ट हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं, तो विदाउट एनी फर्दर डिले लेट्स क्विकली मीट हिम। आप हैं डॉक्टर विनियेंद्र पामेचा। सर, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। सर के बारे में हम बता दें कि सर हेड डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ हेप्टो पैंक्रियाटो बिलियरी सर्जरी, इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ लिवर एंड बालियरी साइंसेज, न्यू दिल्ली से हैं। और हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर गगन गुप्ता, आप DESM NCRT से। सर, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
नमस्कार।
और सर, जैसे हमने अपने सभी देखने वालों को बताया कि हम ऑर्गन डोनेशन और ट्रांसप्लांटेशन पे बात कर रहे हैं एंड व्हेन इट्स कम टू ऑर्गन डोनेशन एंड ट्रांसप्लांटेशन ये बहुत ज़रूरी हो जाता है। इसके बारे में कुछ बातें हैं, मिथ्स हैं, कई बातें हैं जो लोगों को जानना ज़रूरी है। तो हम आपके पास आएंगे और आपसे इस सेशन की वेबिनार की शुरुआत करना चाहेंगे सर।
नमस्कार दोस्तों, सादर प्रणाम और रेनू, थैंक यू वेरी मच। टुडे फ्रेंड्स, अगस्त 2021 से शुरू करके आज हम लगभग 2.5 साल हो चुके हैं। आज दिल्ली का मौसम थोड़ा ठंडा है और इस समय लगभग 11 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड टेम्परेचर है और आज का मिनिमम टेम्परेचर रफली 7 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड। ठंड दिल्ली में ठंड है और आज हम एक बड़े वार्म विषय पर बात करने वाले हैं, कंट्रेरी टू द वेदर टुडे, और बहुत ही ज़रूरी विषय है। इस पर आज हम बात करने वाले हैं। दोस्तों, आपको मालूम है कि हमने मेडिसिन, साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, सोसाइटी अलग अलग विषयों पर इस टॉपिक पर बात की है। सारे के सारे सेशन 69 सेशन आज है। All the 69 sessions have been uploaded on our website www.ncrt.nic.in and you can go to its event section and there you will find all the sessions on it. Please keep on telling us your suggestions about the topics which we should take on this forum. Friends, let me tell you that very soon we are going to have sessions on millets, we are going to have sessions on computer programming, evolution of computer programming, and a very charming session again we are going to have on ISRO's, ISRO's streaking issues and streaking missions. Nandini will be with us on 2nd of February. Before that we will be Bharti Kakar from Indian Institute of Geomagnetism will be with us on 19th of January next week. And she will be talking about the magnetic reversals, etc. And soon we are going to have a topic session on fusion batteries. Fusion batteries is a kind of a phenomena which we are envisaging nowadays, and as it is going to be an ultimate source of energy for our vehicles, our mobile phones. If you have a mobile phone, let me just tell you that if you have a mobile phone with coupled with a fusion battery, you will not be required to have it charged again, whether it is laptop or vehicles, etc., anything. Activated material will be embedded in this capsule, and that capsule will be embedded in your vehicles, and that session will again be a person who has been marked by the Outlook as the fifth visionary in the India to take our nation into $5 trillion economy. So, we are with you, please keep on suggesting us your topics. So, today we are with Professor, my friend Professor Viniyendra Pamecha. We have been known to each other since last 12 years or so. In fact, he was a surgeon for my mother's treatment at Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, and for a long we were wanting to have him here. We are fortunate that we are able to get him ultimately today. He is a very busy man, very busy person, and he has done nearly 1,200 liver transplants, etc. So, Dr. Pamecha, my friend, please, you are most welcome here. So, we are thankful to Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, New Delhi, for having a collaboration with National Council of Educational Research and Training, and in particular with the Department of Education in Science and Mathematics here at NCERT, sir. So, we welcome you. The whole nation welcomes you. The whole nation wants to listen to you today. Before I give it to Dr. Pamecha, let me introduce Dr. Pamecha with you in brief. Dr. Pamecha presently head Department of Liver Transplant and Hepato Biliary Surgery, and he is also the Associate Dean, Ideation, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and Dr. Reddy Endowment Chair for Professor in Liver Transplantation at the Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, New Delhi. Dr. Pamecha is Masters in Surgery from Udaipur, obtained his membership of the Royal College of Surgeons (MRCS) from the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh, fellowships in multi-organ retrieval, liver transplantation, and hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgery from the European Board of Surgery, United Kingdom. Dr. Viniyendra has been the first Indian friends to receive the prestigious fellowship of the Royal College of Surgeons, commonly known as FRCS, in hepato, pancreatobiliary and upper GI surgery from the Intercollegiate Specialty Board, United Kingdom. We are very lucky to have, we started this program with another GI surgeon, Gagandeep Kang, in this forum way back in February 2021. So, again we are going to have another GI surgeon today with us. After completing these specialized programs in surgery, Dr. Pamecha joined the ILBS in 2010. Over his 28 years of his clinical, academic and teaching experience, Dr. Viniyendra has performed in more than 1,500 liver transplants, 1,200 liver resections and 300 pancreatic resections. Very distinguished fellow with us today. He has had nearly 120 scientific publications to his credit in internationally peer reviewed journals, and that have nearly 3,500 citations so far. He has also written 2-3 book chapters. Dr. Pamecha, a great teacher, a great motivator, indeed a great surgeon, is also known to have started and mentored the liver transplantation programs in many medical institutions in India, including Jipmer, Savai Madho Singh Hospital, Jaipur, AIIMS, Jodhpur, etc. He is also associated with the several national and international bodies involved in the area of health and organ transplantation. So, once again, Dr. Pamecha, welcome to our studios here. We again thank Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, New Delhi, for having collaborated with us for this program. It is all yours now, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. It is really an honor to be here, and I thank NCERT and Dr. Gupta for having me here. So, what I am going to do over the next 30 minutes or so is going to talk about, just give you a broad view about organ donation and transplantation, how important it is for the country and how important it is about saving lives. So, I will just start with a story of this young girl. So, this is her recent photographs, and she came to us about 10 years ago when she was about 18 years in age. and she was suffering for almost 3-4 years with liver problem. She had recurrent hospital admission, and a point has come where she has been in hospital for a very long time, and her only option to survive or have a long life or good quality of life was to have a liver transplantation. And this was a very difficult time for the family as well, and because of so much recurrent hospital admission, lot of finances also involved in those processes, and loss of work and all those things involved. And then she was lucky that this lady who actually unfortunately had a brain stroke, and she was declared brain dead, and the family of this particular lady, Uma Chopra, they actually decided to donate her organs after she was declared brain dead. And this particular girl actually received those organs. She received the liver, and her life could be saved, and now she is 10 years from her transplantation, and she is now married, and maybe in near future she is going to have children as well, and she is working as well, and has got a productive life for the society and the nation as well. So that's just to give you a brief about how organ transplantation actually changes life, and can actually make a big difference in what the health services are presently offer. So my gist of my talk is about life and death, and in a way it is about how you can keep living even after death, because death is a reality for every one of us, and how we can actually keep going even after death, and that's where most of my gist of this particular talk is going to be. So in terms of organ transplantation, actually it's not new. Actually the concept actually has been there for a very long time, and I am sure you all know the story of how Lord Ganesha was beheaded, and then he had an head implantation done by Lord Shiva, and we all actually how we all love Lord Ganesha. So I would have thought that if we take Asian times, he is the first example of an organ transplantation being done, and that all comes from our civilization as well. Then as a surgeon, I always like to mention about Maharishi Shushruta, just because most of the organ transplantation involve operations, big operation, and very few people actually know Maharishi Shushruta is considered to be father of surgery. About 2500 years, 3000 years ago, he developed lot of surgical procedures, and some of this procedure actually goes down where again transplantation techniques are also embedded into it. So he did surgeries for nasal damage, and which actually included some auto transplantation techniques as well. And so as an Indian, we need to know all this, that we've been doing all this for a long time before actually the West actually woke up to all these things. He developed lot of instruments as well, which are still the basic principles of those instruments are still in use, and the modern instruments have been developed on those basic concept of those surgical instruments as well. So moving on to basics of our talk today, organ transplant. So why we are talking about this, हम क्यों जानना चाहते हैं इसके बारे में, क्योंकि if you see about 5 lakh people actually die every year because of end organ failure. So once their organ get damaged to an extent like kidneys, livers, lungs, heart, the only chance of them to live longer is if they can get a new organ. And if we take this a rough estimate that 5 lakh people actually lives can be saved every year by if they get a timely transplantation. And so that's the current need. Again, this is rough, because we don't have that much registry data at this stage to say exact figures, but this figures may be much higher as well. So if we say the number of organs needed, so we need about 50,000 heart, about 100,000 livers, 200,000 kidneys, 50,000 intestine, 20,000 lungs, and about 10 lakh eyes as well. That is cornea transplantation. So that's a huge number of patients actually who can benefit from timely organ transplantation, and that's the need which the currently country has. And in terms of what we are doing, So, we are way behind in terms of organ donation. If we compare ourselves to other countries like Spain, US and Britain, the organ donation rate in India is currently only 0.5 per million population. If we compare with Spain, which has got the highest organ donation rate, it is about 36 there. So, we are lagging behind in terms of how we can improve our health services and how many more patients actually can benefit from this particular modality of treatment. So, moving on in terms of understanding what organ donation and exactly means. So, there are two types of donation when we come to the what a particular person can donate. It can be an organ donation, it can be tissue donation. So, tissue donation is like you donate skin, bones and parts of other parts of your body which can be used for another person. So, this donations are mainly patients who have died for a long time, and then they can donate all those tissues, and those tissues can be banked and can be used. But these are not really life saving things. Life saving is when you donate an organ which is like heart, kidney, lungs, liver, pancreas and all. So, that actually saves your life and improves the quality of life as well. So, this basic need to be understand that, and then organ donation can happen only when organs are viable. I will just explain to you in next few slides what we mean about viability of those organs as well. So, what organs can be donated? As I said before, you can donate kidney, liver, pancreas, lungs, heart, intestine, eye corneas and hand as well. And so, there can be two types of donor. One, you can donate certain things when you are alive, and the other one is when you have actually died, then you can donate those things as well. So, live donation is mainly limited to kidney because we have two kidneys. So, you can donate one kidney to your near and dear ones and you can save their life, or you can donate a part of your liver because liver has the capacity to regenerate, it can regrow. So, if you can donate a part of your liver to your near and dear, they can again save. Again, the technologies have now increased and we are moving forward in terms of even parts of pancreas, intestine from a live donor have been taken. So, these are people who are near and dear to the patient, and they out of emotional attachment they donate parts of their organs to save the life of their near dears. The other part is donation after death. Basically, there you are declared dead and then you donate organs, and then you can save many lives as well. We will come to that in details later on. Okay. So, live donation, again this is just I have put up a there are lots of photographs here, and these are basically most of them are patients who had live donor liver transplantation. So, you see there are lots of kids in this particular collage, and these are kids who have received their organs, livers from their mothers, fathers or siblings, and that is how they had their lives could be saved and they had a long life as well. Okay. So, live donation is mainly either brother, sister donates to each other, or wife donates to husband, or husband donate to a wife, or parents donating to their children. So, there is an extensive evaluation which is done, and there is a lot of legal process involved into this authorization as well, that who can donate and who can't donate in terms of live donation. But the problem in live donation is there is always a risk of that operation, and the second thing is there are only limited number of people who can donate parts of their organs. So, there is a very limited extent of patient who can benefit, and obviously most of this live transplants happen within a family or within the close relatives as well. So, it does not really benefit to the larger extent of the society, and that is what actually is the limitation currently being faced in the country, that this part of is very limited to that group of patients actually. So, when we come to donation after death, so you can save 8 lives, as I said, by all the organs which can be retrieved and can be used. So, one donor actually can save 8 lives by donating their organs. So, what do we mean by donation after death? So, there are two concepts here which we need to understand carefully. One is donation after brain death and donation after cardiac death. So, donation after brain death is that when someone has sustained an injury to the brain which leads to irreversible changes. Okay. So, like just if you can imagine, there is a road traffic accident and somebody had an head injury and a bleed into their brain, and it has caused irreversible damage to the brain, then they actually develop brain stem death, and this is actually tested once they are in the ICU. Then proper testing is done in terms of whether they are brain stem death or not, and if that brain stem death declaration is done, then they can decide whether to donate. The family can decide actually whether they want to go ahead and donate the organs or not. So, that is about brain death, and it is a medical death because in this condition the heart and lungs will be will be functioning, but they will be supported by the artificial support. So, if we take that support off, then they will not live long actually. So, there is an irreversible damage to the brain which is not sustainable with the life. Okay. In terms of donation after cardiac death, which means that your heart has stopped and the death has been declared, again you can donate organs in those situations as well. But if this is a long time, like supposing if somebody has died 2 hours ago, the heart has stopped, and then you want to donate organ, then those organs are not viable and they cannot be used actually. So, most of this situation is when a patient is in ICU, they have actually had damage to their brain, but their heart is still working, but most of the other organs have also started having an effect as well. So, in that situation, the medical team actually can have a discussion with the family that continuing treatment in this situation is not going to prolong the life, and if the relatives decide, then what is done is the treatment is withdrawn, and within a very narrow time space like 30 minutes or so, again the organs are retrieved and used. So, it is all done in a controlled situation so that the organs which we can get is viable and they can be used for transplantation. So, these are two important concepts which we need to understand in terms of how they are implicated in transplantation. Again, I will emphasize one more point: both this brain death and cardiac death are legal and medically certified deaths actually. So, in a way they are not completely related to transplantation. Transplantation is actually second part. After this is done, then the relatives decide that they want to donate organ, and that is why the donation happen. Okay. So, this is again just to explain or make it clear about what is the concept of brain death. So, you can see this is in. So, this brain death is not exactly coma, because in coma still the vascularity of your brain is functioning and there will be brain function there, but in brain death these are blood vessels which are supplying to the brain, and then in brain death actually there is irreversible damage to the brain. So, in this situation heart, liver, lungs and other organs will be working, but they are maintained on an artificial support, and but all the electrical activity in the brain will be stopped and patient will not be able to breathe spontaneously. So, if we take them off the ventilator, they will not be able to breathe for long, and that is how the brain stem declaration. So, this are done by a separate team which is not involved in transplantation. So, those doctors have got nothing to do with organ transplantation. There is a separate team, there are legal framework of how it is done. So, there are 4 doctors who certify brain stem death, and once that certification is done, then the relatives are asked that whether they want to donate organs. If they want to donate organs, then the organ transplantation process is actually started. Okay. So, this is just the apnea test which I just mentioned, that if we take them off the ventilator, then they will not be able. So, you need some normal what should be the norm in order to do an apnea test. I will not go into details of this. So, all this is actually governed by an act which has been passed in the parliament in 1994, which is called as the Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissue Rules, and it has been modified in 2014 as well. So, this is all actually works in a legal framework. It is not like something that there is a patient in the hospital and somebody, it's been declared brain death, and then it doesn't happen that way. There is a good legal framework to work in. Within that framework, all these things are done. Okay. So, who needs an organ? So, just to emphasize that, the way which anybody who develops an organ failure will need his treatment, or his life can be prolonged only by having an organ transplantation. So, in liver, they can have acute liver failure, chronic liver diseases, genetic diseases which can cause damage to the liver and which can lead to liver failure, and then after, to a certain extent the medicines can help to them, but if they have to have a sustained long life, then they may need a liver transplantation. Same applies to lungs as well, same applies to heart as well, and same applies to kidneys as well. Okay. So, there are established criterias about when an organ transplantation should be done. There are guidelines about that, what if a patient meets those certain criteria, then only the transplantation is offered to them, and then transplantation happen to them. So, currently in our country, all this is looked after by NOTTO, that is National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization under Government of India. So, they actually lay down the framework of and guidelines about how organs can be retrieved and how organ transplantation can happen in the country. And they have been doing very good work, and especially in the last 10 years or so, there have been lot of activities, and the organ donation pledges have increased, and the transplantation numbers have also increased in the country in last 10 years as well. So, just to brief you about the process of disease donor transplantation. Disease donor transplantation again is, I will just re-emphasize the word, that is donation after death. Okay. So, the way it works is, you need to have an awareness within the public about why it is important to donate organs, and also the concept of brain death and cardiac death has to be understood by the public. And there has been lot of activity from Government of India. One of the things which happen in many states is, nowadays at the time of driving license, a special form is given where people can express their willingness if they want to donate organs if a mishap happens to them. And in some of the states, actually, when you have the license card, there is actually an dot about organ transplantation or organ donation there as well. So, there have been lot of awarenesses program which has been run by Government of India, and I am sure you are aware, this has come from Ministry of Health as well, and our Prime Minister has also emphasized in recent past about how organ donation need to increase in the country. So, apart from awareness, obviously you need to have brainstem declaration done in the hospital, and then the families need to be consoled about whether they can donate, they want to donate the organs of their near and dear ones, and then the organ retrieval happen, and organs are allocated. This is decided by NOTTO, that who is going to get what organs, and then organ transport happens if organs are coming from a distant hospital, and then the transplant happen. So, as I said, there have been lot of activity happening in India. We ourselves actually, because organ transplantation currently is limited to metro cities, although second tier and third tier cities are also doing it, but because of the limitations of infrastructure and all, it is not happening regularly. So, many a times actually we go out to distant cities and get the organs from there. So, we have been out to Jaipur, Indore, Lucknow and other cities to get the organs from there and bring in. So, the point here to emphasize is because organs have a limited viability in terms of how long we can keep them. So, once we retrieve organ, we have to preserve the organ in special solutions and on an ice actually, and they have a limited viability period. So, like liver will have 8 to 12 hours of viability, kidneys may go up to 24 hours, heart is about 4 to 6 hours, lungs again 4 to 6 hours. So, you can understand the time, which is, it is a very tight time, that when after retrieving the organ we have to get that organ into the hospital and again do the operation and do the transplantation. So, it is a race against time for those organs to be used in a proper way, and that is where the lot of logistics comes into play as well, that how rapidly we can get the organs into our hospital and do the transplantation. But there have been lot of movement actually across the country, and because of the availability, the currently the air facilities, the way with they have increased in the country. So, it has become very easy for us to go even just on a commercial flight and go in the evening, do the organ retrieval in the late hours of night, and then come back in the as a first flight from next day, and we can do the transplantation. So, it's like these are heroic efforts, but they are very successful in terms of saving lives. So, just to put you an example here, this is actually way back 2016, I think. We had an offer coming from, there was a donor in Indore, in one of the hospitals in Indore, and the family decided to donate organs. So, they decided to donate kidneys, heart, lung and liver. So, the liver was coming to us in Delhi, we went for the liver to Indore, and the heart went to Bombay. So, this was actually offered midday around to us, and then we went to Indore in the late evening flight. We retrieved the organ in the early hours of the morning, and then we came back by first flight in the morning back to Delhi and completed the transplant by 4 p.m. So, you can just see 1:30 the offer came, and then by 4 o'clock next day we were done with the liver transplantation. So, same was the story here when when the heart went to Bombay as well. Okay. So, there is lot of help from all the administration currently in terms of creating green corridors. You are all aware there is a lot of traffic into the cities nowadays, and the police and administration and the airport transport actually helps us bring this organ quickly into the hospital. So, these are green corridors which have become a very norm nowadays whenever there is an organ donation happening. Okay. So, I am just going to address some of the myths about the donation. One of the common myths which we have found is like organ donation is against my faith or religion, but if you look at closely, most major faiths accept organ donation, and this includes Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, and most religion actually favors it. And I will just go through some of them. Like in Hinduism, we all know the karma plays the biggest part, and the rebirth is the concept of rebirth is known, and it depends on how your karmas are. Okay, but the basic thing in Bhagavad Gita is, as a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accept new material bodies, giving up the old one and useless one. So, it clearly says that the body material will just stay here on earth, it does not go, and the soul moves on. Okay. So, once you are dead, then those organs are of no use to you, and they can be actually used for other people to save life and give them new life actually. So, that is about Hinduism, and this has been emphasized because Dhan is considered to be the biggest charity one can do. Of all the things that it is possible to donate your own body is infinitely more worthwhile. So, that is Dhan is considered to be the biggest gift you can give or biggest charity you can do. So, So, same applies to Sikhism as well, that where self exists there is no God, where God exists there is no self. And then Guru Granth Sahib says, thou selfless service, through selfless service eternal peace is obtained, the Guru Mukhi is absorbed in intuitive peace. So, and the most selfless service will be to help someone else, and to give away your organs when you are dead. There cannot be anything more supreme than that. Okay. Then same applies to Islam as well. The Quran says, whoever saves a life, it would be as if he saved the life of all mankind. So, again there is nothing to say that organ donation is against any religion. Again, coming to Christianity, in eternity we will never have nor need our earthly bodies. Former things will pass away, all things will be made new. So, again Christianity also says that once you are dead, the body goes away. So, there is no point in hanging on, and there is no hindrance in terms of organ donation from any faith or religion actually. Okay. Then people think I am too old to donate, nobody wants my organ. That's not right. Okay. There is no standard cut-off age where one can say. So, it is more of a medical decision whether on that particular age or on other organs, other functions of the body are how they are, then that is how we decide whether the organs can be donated and used. Okay. So, this is our own recently, this is just last month, last year and last month. So, this was a 10-year-old baby in Chandigarh whose parents unfortunately had an head injury and sustained irreversible brain damage, and the parents decided to donate organs. And so, the liver actually came to us. We went there to Chandigarh and got the liver, and we transplanted in a 14-month-old baby, and she is doing well. And again this is just a few weeks ago, there was a 78-year-old lady here in AIIMS Delhi. The family, she had a brain stroke, and family decided to donate organ, and we used it, and the person who got it is doing well as well. So, there is no age barrier in terms of who can donate organs. Okay. I am not in best health. This is again, people think that I myself is unwell, how I am going to donate organs when I die. So, there are very few medical conditions actually which can actually contraindicate a donation, and this is best left to the doctors to decide whether the organs can be used or not, but as such it is not a contraindication to donate organs. Okay. This is again, people think that the rich and famous will be on the top of the list, and they will get transplanted rather than the poor. Again, this is not right. So, the waiting list for organ transplantation is maintained by the hospital, and the priorities are decided based on criteria. So, it is not like somebody who has got more money is going to get organ transplant before a poor one. It just happens that people who are famous and rich, when they have an operation like this, there is a lot of media coverage to them, and that is why people have this type of feeling that maybe that is the way it is, but it does not really happen. There is no one that a poor will not get a transplant and only rich will get a transplant. So, that does not apply. Okay. Then my family will be charged if I donate my organs. Nobody is charged extra for donating organs. Actually, there are provision now from Government of India to help people who decide to donate organs, and so there are benefits given in terms of performing last rites as well. And if there are certain amount of support is also given once the family decide they want to donate organs. So, this is a wrong concept that they will be charged if they want to donate organs. Actually, the way it is that there is a push from government that we should support people and family who want to donate organs as well. Okay. Living donation will affect my future life. So, as I said, living donation is mostly limited to kidney and part of liver, and most living donors actually do well in the long term. There are, although there is a big operation, there is a risk of the operation is there, but most, because there is an extensive evaluation done in order to make sure they are fit enough to donate, and most donors actually do well in the long term as well. Okay. So, this is again the website to register for an organ donor. If someone want to become an organ donor, they can just go to NOTTO website. There is a big campaign going on. Last year has been particularly very good. The pledges have increased. As far as I remember, I think the pledge has gone more than 1 lakh in last year or so, which has been like a sort of boon to the NOTTO. High numbers have pledged last year for organ donation, and there are a lot of campaign going on across the country in order to for people to donate organs and register themselves for organ. What registration helps is, it is basically, why this is important. The point is, when you are brain death or you come to, you are about, you decide after cardiac arrest. So, what happens is, you are in ICU and you are not in a position to make any decision because you are brain dead. So, the decision is now left to the family. Now, as a family member, it is a very difficult decision to make, because you can just imagine somebody young who had a road traffic accident and sustained a brain injury, right. Now, for family to decide that for organ donation and to accept brain death is not that easy actually. But if you register yourself beforehand and you express your wish that if you are in that situation, if you wanted to do it, so it is then becomes, for the family, it becomes like this was the last wish of that person. Okay. So, if somebody carries a donor card, then it becomes easy for family to decide that, okay, this was the last wish of this, my son, my daughter or my parents, and so it becomes much easier for them to come to that decision. So, that is why registration and organ donor card, having an organ donor card becomes important. Okay. So, it is going to play. Okay. So, this is just a small video of patients who had organ transplant done. Okay. And this is all girls actually, woman power here, and they all received livers and from patient who became brain dead. So, you can see there are various ages, some of them are very young, some of them are very old as well, and because they are alive today because somebody decided to donate organs, and you can see how good their quality of life is from those video actually. Okay. So, there is no greater gift than the gift of life. Again, I am going to come to the end of this talk where I am just showing this picture. This girl, she worked for Tata Consultancy, and she was in a very bad shape. She was wheelchair bound actually. She couldn't walk because her bones have gone so weak because of liver failure, and she was almost always, most of her time was being spent in the hospital. She was, luckily she got an organ. This was a liver which came from Indore, and she got transplanted about 5 years ago, and she now went on to have another baby as well. So, this picture is actually about 3 years ago. So, after transplant she had a baby as well, and you can see how happy they are. And this was girl actually who now actively working in Tata Consultancy and have active contribution to the society. So, that is how organ transplantation can change lives, and nothing can happen without a team. So, you need a huge team to do all this, and that is where as a student, if the way medical science is progressing, the way technologies are coming in, there is a huge career options in terms of looking into it. You know, organ transplant actually is going to come in a very big way in next 10-20 years in the country, and the science is going to evolve a lot actually in this particular area. So there are a lot of interest. So it's not just about an operation, there are lots of things which happen around the operation. So there are lots of cellular things, immunological things which are involved into this. So there is a lot of science which is evolving here. So one of this option, either you can bin your organs after death or you can save someone's life. And Dr. Gupta wanted me to emphasize on this. So I will just show that how medical technologies are evolving. This is how a liver looks like inside the body. Okay. So that's the whole liver actually looks like. And the way we now understand liver has got various segments and parts. So how technology, because we understand the anatomy of the liver, and then the technology wise how technology has become advanced and how our understanding of science has become. So now we can partition this liver into two. So this is a whole liver. So we divided this into two parts, okay, and then one part can be given to another to the patient to save his life. So this is you know, about 30-40 years somebody would have thought this is impossible, and this has now become routine and norm of the day. This operation has become. So this involves a lot of understanding into how organs work, and then it involves a lot of skills in terms of doing this type of operations as well. And now we have evolved even to use small liver. This is my hand actually, the back of my, you see the white color, there is a glove on my hand, and that is the part of the liver. So you can see as small as that, which can be used for the small kids in order to, so this has been donated by their mother to save their life. And then again we can actually cut down liver to more smaller segments in order to use them for smaller babies like this, okay. And again we can cut down even to more smaller segments. So this is hardly about 4 into 4 centimeter size of liver, and this has been used for this small baby as well, okay. So I think that's where I will just stop. I've taken my time, okay. Thank you very much, thanks a lot. I hope it was good, and it would excite people into this area, and also people will consider organ donation being part of their life. But as a student I would have thought there is lot happening in this area, and these are very good career options. The science here is evolving like very rapidly, and these are good career options to come to. Thank you very much, thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Pamecha. I really enjoyed. There are many questions which I am receiving through the different forums. That I will come to that slowly, one by one. There are many questions. The one quick question here is where you ended, that the size of the organ. Can we come to the slide number 43? Yes, this is before that. Yes, this is the slide. No, 43. Next. Yes, this is the slide. Here, see, you talked about taking organs after the death, brain death, but mostly in the case of the liver transplantations or kidney transplantations, most of the donations, to my understanding, comes from the persons or siblings, those who are still alive. So number one, whether the size of the organ which has to be taken out from the donor's body depends on the age or the physical fitness of the person where the organ is to be donated, and which portion of this liver, in particular in this liver there are 8 segments shown, are preferred to have, or what are the factors.
Okay. So again, just to re-emphasize, the two type of donation, one is live donation and another is donation after death. So live donation, obviously you are going to donate a part of your organ. So in kidneys, because you have 2 kidneys, so 1 kidneys can be donated. In liver, the organ is 1 actually, and we have to divide this liver into various halves to decide which part we can give to a recipient. So we do lot of calculations, lot of actually in terms of restructuring and of the liver. We look at the anatomy, how the anatomy is, how much grams of liver is going to come out from the donor, and what is the need of the recipient. So there is a lot of calculation which is done. Okay, so in like if pediatric means if it is going to a children, then only they need only a small segment. Okay, but if it is somebody is adult to adult somebody, then they will need a larger portion of the liver. Okay, so it can be a right lobe of the liver or a left lobe of the liver. So we do a calculation, there are various formulas, and then we decide that which is safer for the donor as well and which is going to work for the recipient as well.
Okay, so this depends, this calculation depends on
Lots
several
of factors.
factors, several
Yeah,
factors.
yeah,
So the depend of the age of the sibling, the physical fitness of the sibling. You talked about, I know that you have been an instrumental in matching or in having the transplantations before where the blood group doesn't match. How important the blood group matching is in this whole process?
Yes. So this is actually because nowadays what happens, you have smaller families and there will be occasions when the groups of the donor and recipient is not matching. So what we do is we actually look at how big is the mismatch. Like you have blood groups, it's same, it runs on the same thing. So supposing somebody's group is A and the donor's group is B, so the A group will have antibodies against B. So we look at what is the titer of those antibodies, and then depending on this titer and also about the fitness of the one who is going to have this operation, recipient, we decide whether we can do a mismatch or not, mismatch transplant or not.
Okay.
Then they will need special types of medication. So we actually give them special medication, and also we actually clear their plasma as well with antibodies.
Oh.
All the antibodies are cleared before the transplant, and then we do the transplant. So this is, the results are now good as ABO compatible transplant, but again this can be only done for a limited group of patients. So it cannot be applied into a generalization that anybody can have.
It's still case by case.
Case
so,
by case.
I mean, one question asked which I left for Renu to ask, but let me ask this question in continuation. See, this I understand. This require you have very limited time with you. When this transplantation is to be made, particularly in the case of the brain dead people or from the cadaver organs, you have very limited time. You are very tight. So how do you feel this machine language, the developments in the machine language and artificial intelligence in the area of medicines can really help you so that people where the organs are being donated, they can have good life?
So as I said, the science is evolving in this area. There are a lot of exciting things happening. So nowadays machines have become available. So what we can do is we can put the organ on the machine, okay, and which can prolong the cold ischemia time. Cold ischemia time is called as the time which the organ is going to spend on ice. So once we retrieve, we have to put the organ onto ice in order to preserve it. So the machines can actually prolong that time.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Also machine, now the newer development in the machines is that some of the machines come with where we can actually assess the function of the organ while it is being preserved. So then we can decide whether it is worth using those organs or not to. So these are available now actually, but obviously cost is an hindrance. These are because they are very costly machines. But now I am sure as we have,
come, yes.
there will be an Indian solution to
There
it.
will be, yes.
And people are in the process of developing, trying to
Alternate
develop, or develop machine, indigenous machine in order. So I think why we are, because currently what is happening is the emphasis in our country is on organ donations. If the rate of donation increases, if we are going to have more of this, then the needs of machine and all other innovation will happen actually.
आपने सपनों की बात कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर साहब, मैं सपनों की, हमें तो साइंस का स्टूडेंट हूँ, पर्टिकुलरली फिजिक्स का, आपको याद करें शुरू में ही मैंने फ्यूजन बैटरीज की बात की जिसमें सपने देखने की बात की, और मैं समझता हूँ कि विद इन माई लाइफ टाइम आई विल बी एबल टू सी दोज काइंड ऑफ बैटरीज सिमिलरली एनालॉगस टू इट. हम मेडिसिन में भी सपने देखते हैं, मेडिसिन में सपने ज़रा ज़्यादा देखते हैं हम लोग. कैन वी हैव आर्टिफिशियल लिवर्स ऑर्गन्स समटाइम?
So there have been again, as I said, there is a lot of exciting things and science and technology the way it is developing now. So, there are a lot of areas where actually bioartificial liver development is happening. People have started developing 3D printing in terms of developing tissues right now, but we still it is in infancy in terms of developing an organ. So, that is where it is going to be when you start saying bioartificial thing, then it is about 3D printing, using artificial intelligence in order to print organs and then use those organs. So, currently we are just come to having tissues being developed. We haven't yet reached where we can develop actual organs. Okay. Then the other area is about stem cell therapies, where actually you can give progenitor cells, and then this progenitor cells actually can multiply into actual functioning liver cells or kidney cells and all those things. Again, that research is going on, that has not come into routine clinical practice. Some areas they have been, but not to liver as such. Stem cell therapy has not yet come, but there are a lot of research happening.
Yes, that
in
has
those
potential.
areas.
That has potential. Quickly, Renu, you can when you are
Yes, so
silent.
we have
at
a lot
your-
of queries and questions.
I'll come back,
but
get back.
We are running very short of time, but still, I just wanted to talk about. You just shared the figure that organ donation pledge have increased, right? So I just wanted to know how much of them have actually come in numbers.
Okay. So, as I said, in the last bit of my presentation, so it is important for people to pledge and register themselves being organ donor.
Right.
Okay. So, that is the first step towards actually this actually leading into actual organ donation. Okay. Because you can see, even in West it is 30 per million. Okay. So,
36
it's
per
not,
million it has in Spain,
so
yes.
it's not like everyone is going to, okay.
No,
But
this number you told about the donation, actual donations
Actual
which are taking
donation.
place or pledges?
pledges, actually I said last year, I think what I remember from NOTTO
Like you
is
said.
they have crossed 90,000 plus
Yes,
Okay.
pledges, which is a huge number for the
Right.
country, because if that happens, then actually what is happening, that just shows that people are understanding what is organ donation. They want to do it, and the most important part of this is that it becomes easier for relatives to take that decision when this unfortunate, something unfortunate happened to you near India. So that is more important about being pledged. And I'm sure, because these are small steps towards a bigger goal. So if pledges increases, then we are going to see the increase in number of organ donation, which actually last year there were nearly about 1,000 donations happened in country.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
1,000
Organ
donations
donors.
for the organ donation.
Organ
But
donors.
you are excluding cornea at this time.
No, we are not including cornea.
Cornea, yes, because that number is much more.
Cornea, actually, to my knowledge, I'm not an eye expert, but I think whatever I know, I think we have surplus corneas in the country.
Yes, yes, yes,
Because
yes,
that's
we
how
know.
the momentum gains. The eye donation 20 years ago, there was so big campaigns, and then suddenly there was a
Right.
momentum in eye donation, and I think that now we have surplus cornea.
Surplus cornea, yes, I know. Yes, so as far as this is concerned, very interesting viewers. You recall that when Partha Mukhopadhyay came here in the RD this year, in May 2023, less than a year ago, we talked about the uterus donation as well, particularly in connection with the male pregnancy. Those are hot topics, but सपने की बात है, पर सपने हम जरूर देखते हैं. Donation किया. Now coming back to this point, the donation which Renu raised, you also mentioned a lot about the family and the person concerned. ऐसा अक्सर मैंने देखा है कि फैमिली मेंबर जो पर्सन है उसने तो डोनेशन किया है, लेकिन फैमिली मेंबर्स बिकॉज ऑफ देयर रिलीजियस और सम अदर पॉइंट व्हाटसोएवर द रीजन दे आर नॉट विलिंग टू डोनेट. देन लीगल पोजीशन क्या है, किसकी चलेगी, पर्सन हिमसेल्फ और द फैमिली मेंबर्स?
So this is I think this is a tricky issue, and I know where you're coming from. So basically there are countries in Europe where they have opt-in and opt-out system, where if somebody has expressed their willingness to donate and they have donor card, then authorities actually take it that their decision is final. but I think that comes with lot of this one. I don't really agree on that, because at the end of the day this decision has to be in conjunction with the family agreeing that they want to donate this one, because the way our culture is, and we need to have our own this one, and although somebody has expressed their wish by having an organ donor card or having registered themselves, but I don't think we should go ahead without family's wishes.
Oh, I see.
So family should be in full agreement. And
this is the legal position as on today.
as on
In our
today,
country.
as on today, this is what it is, that the family has to agree, because you can imagine, we
Because
took
we
up-
had seen many problems arising with the family members at the end of the day.
So the last thing you want, you don't want to have, this is a donation, this is a daan, and daan has to come, you can't have people who are unhappy about something.
I understand.
It should be done
very quickly. I am coming to see this.
so you can't have those.
Yes, I understand.
situations.
Very quickly, sir. We are running short of time. Sorry, but very quickly, I want to come to this point. One of my colleagues has made this question: the liver cirrhosis. You are dealing with this liver cirrhosis a lot. I know. I mean, the person is suffering from liver cirrhosis. Can he? I mean, this question comes in one way or the other in our periphery several times. कोई बीमार है, अब उसके कितने ऑर्गन्स डोनेट किए जा सकते हैं, पर्टिकुलरली मेटास्टेसिस जब फैल जाते हैं, तो लिवर सोराइसिस के केस में क्या कुछ ऑर्गन डोनेट किया जा सकता है? आई हैव सीन द पीपल डोनेटिंग बॉडी, द होल बॉडी फॉर एकेडमिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू लार्जली, बट इज दैट रियली बेनिफिशियल फॉर मेडिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू एज वेल?
सो देह दान की जहाँ तक बात है, देह दान मतलब कि वो मृत्यु हो गई है, देन दे वांट टू डोनेट देयर बॉडी, सो दोज बॉडीज आर यूज इन मेडिकल कॉलेजेस फॉर टीचिंग पर्पसेस. आई थिंक दैट्स एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट, बिकॉज जो एनाटॉमिकल टीचिंग है वो बॉडीज पे होती है, तो देह दान भी एक बहुत बड़ा दान है, और उससे जो हमारे विद्यार्थी पढ़ेंगे तो वो सारा उसी से
but the question is little different, sir.
Coming to cirrhosis and organ donation, so cirrhosis actually it's not a contraindication. If अगर उनका बाकी चीज़ें प्रिजर्व है, किडनी अगर ठीक है उनकी, तो वो किडनी डोनेट कर सकते हैं.
Does it really happen? मतलब
It is rarity. It is rarity because most cirrhosis will have some kidney, but it is not uncommon. ऐसा भी नहीं है कि नहीं हो सकता है, वो किडनी डोनेट कर सकते हैं. वो अभी आजकल हैंड डोनेशन वगैरह का भी
hand
आ
donation,
है,
yes,
तो दे कैन स्टिल डोनेट टिश्यूज. ओके, टिश्यू जो है बॉडी टिश्यू, स्किन, बोन वगैरह हैं, अगर वो टिश्यू डोनेट करना चाहते हैं तो वो कर सकते हैं डोनेट.
One last question, sir. Again, how many hospitals in this country, tertiary hospitals, of course, all these hospitals would be tertiary hospitals, are able to do these transplantations, particularly in Delhi, for example?
So in Delhi, I would have thought liver wise there are about 20 centers who are doing transplant.
In Delhi
20,
NCR.
Delhi NCR. And so if we take pan India, there will be at least more than, if we take kidney and all, there will be many centers actually. Kidneys are now happening, district place पे भी kidney transplant होता है.
Yes, yes.
तो
yes,
kidney transplant काफ़ी है, और liver transplant second tier cities like इंदौर, बाकी जगह
are
पे
they able to do it?
हाँ, वहाँ पे हो रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं.
I know this Vijayawada and Shakhapatnam.
हो रहे हैं. तो आजकल ऐसा नहीं है. और अभी जो करंट गवर्नमेंट ने जिस तरह से इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एक्सपैंड किया है, और जो क्योंकि मेन चीज़ें होती हैं कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन तरह के ऑपरेशन करने के लिए यू नीड अ प्रॉपर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड ऑल दोस थिंग, तो उससे काफ़ी सारा एक्सपेंशन हुआ है. हम खुद अभी जैसे जोधपुर जाके हमने 5 ट्रांसप्लांट वहाँ
Oh, great. Dr. Saab,
एम्स जोधपुर में किए हैं वो.
I am sorry that we run out of time. I'm sorry. Sir, wind up.
in a very brief, I just wanted to know, can infant organs be used for adults in yes or no?
They can be. They
can
can
be.
be. So like जो मैंने आपको केस बताया था
हाँ जी.
10 महीने का, तो उनके जो किडनी है, दोनों किडनी आई थिंक दे गेव इट टू
14 महीने के बच्चे को दिया.
हाँ, तो दे कैन बी.
Okay, it can be. तो
many
सर,
questions which are in my
बहुत
mind.
सारे सवाल और प्रश्न अभी भी हमारे पास हैं, लेकिन आई एम क्वाइट श्योर कि हमारे जितने भी व्यूअर्स हमारे साथ जुड़े इस पूरे सेशन से आपको काफ़ी कुछ जानने और सीखने को मिला और आपकी बहुत सारी क्वेरीज, जिज्ञासा, मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली जो मिथ्स थे वो आपके क्लियर हुए होंगे और उन सभी को आप ज़रूर ध्यान में रखें। एंड सर, अब हमें रैप अप करना पड़ेगा ये सेशन। Yes, sir.
Colleagues, as I said in the beginning, that next we are going to have Bharti Kakar from Indian Institute of Geomagnetism, Mumbai, with us, and she will be talking about geomagnetism. देखिए, हमारे स्पेस में क्या क्या हो रहे हैं, क्या प्लाज्मा है, उस प्लाज्मा को समझने के लिए, प्लाज्मा की प्रक्रियाओं को समझने के लिए हम जियोमैग्नेटिज्म, भूचंबकत्व को किस तरह से उपयोग कर सकते हैं, और जिसमें कि हम मैग्नेटिक फील्ड रिवर्सल्स एटसेट्रा बात करेंगे। तो आपसे अनुरोध है कि आप लोग हमारे साथ जुड़िए। 19 फरवरी को अनदर एक्साइटिंग टॉपिक इन द एरिया ऑफ साइंस वेयर यू विल बी सीइंग लॉट ऑफ एक्साइटमेंट अबाउट आवर ओन प्लेनेट अर्थ which are not known to us so far. So looking forward meeting you on 19th of February, 19th of January, and on Friday 10 a.m. again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Pamecha sir and Gagan sir, for this very insightful session. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you.
And big thanks and big salute to you, sir, और आपकी टीम को भी. And it's time for me to wrap up this session. But before that, let me share a very important piece of information with you all regarding our e-content competition. And CIET NCERT is quite happy to announce the All India Children's Educational e-content competition for this year 2023-24, as you can see on your television screens. And if you are a teacher, educator, student or independent educational e-content creator, we invite you to send in your best e-content for the competition. For more details and the registration form, you can visit the activity section of our official website, that is ciet.ncert.gov.in, or either you can scan this QR code, or the last date for the sending of your entries is 20th January 2024. Do remember, it's 20th January 2024 and it's time for me to wrap up this webinar series here only. और जैसा आपको सर ने बताया कि आप 19 जनवरी को भी हमारे साथ बने रहें और एक और वेबिनार सीरीज़ के साथ हम आपके साथ आएंगे एक बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक के साथ। अभी फ़िलहाल मुझे रेणु भट्ट को दे इजाज़त। नमस्कार।